Yep, we're watching this one. We are watching this one because we have watched this person before when they were on a different channel. They are now on their own channel. So, we are going to check them out. So, chat, let us watch Lexi. So, we watched Lexi last week for Tech Gore. She was on MK and left MK to do her own content. So Lexi has another tech support gore and hardware gore. You know how entertaining this is going to be. You know, you can groan all you want. You know this is going to be groanfully entertaining. So I'm probably going to groan. I'm probably going to cringe. Chat, I think you are too. So, well, okay. Look at it this way. We've tortured Eki with customer states enough times. It's time for the computer nerds to get some torture too. The car guys have had their torture. Now it's time for the computer nerds to get theirs. And I include myself in that. So fair is fair. Okay? And Ducky, thank you for the follow. Alright, chat. Let's check it out. Gird your loins. It's go time.
What's up, sexy? I'm Lexi, and welcome to What's up, sexy? I'm Lexi, and welcome to Lexplanations, the show where we look at a bunch of IT fails and ask, how the hell did you do that? If you're new to computers, IT, or tech, or ever just wanted IT memes explained to you, or if you've got all your battle scars from doing help desk and you just want to cry a lot, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. A little accident. Look, accidents are fine. We all make them. Let's just see what you. Oh, that's expensive.
Red Bastard, Lexi is transgender female, just so you know. Oh, this is painful. Oh, this is painful. Oh, God. How does this happen? How did this happen? Oh, my God. Spectre? You're looking at a CPU that was not mounted properly. These pins? Yeah, these pins are very delicate. These are supposed to be oh God. This hurts.
That's expensive! You will not be doing a computer today. This is a server motherboard. You can tell that it's a server motherboard by the way that it is. Actually, you can tell this because there are two CPU sockets. And for the uninitiated, the CPU is the thing that does all the math. Like anyone else, gets very hot and flustered when it does a lot of math. So we have to cool it with fans, which is not something I've ever tried while doing math, and I don't intend to. Anyways, you have to put CPUs in sockets. The sockets hold the CPU down very tightly, and then you squish a bunch of coolers on top, and that makes the CPUs not liquefy, which is always good. You don't want your computer to be liquid. The sockets can sometimes be very difficult to open, especially if you open them from the wrong side or something like that. I don't know what happened here. But as you can see, there's a tab on one side and a little hook on the other. And one of these either was pulled up by the thermal paste, too tight or old or whatever. But yeah, if you don't actually open the socket and just...
No, Dubster, this is not an Ember face reveal.
Pull up on it, you'll rip it straight off the board, and you will no longer have a server. Network cable.
Dubster, just because we share common interest does not mean this is my face reveal. More individuals than I like to wear colors. And besides, I'm not a fan of the, like, this is not even for me, this is not even a pretty color. This is like a quasi color. I don't like the rivets. I'm not a fan of the rivets. This looks like it's supposed to be like a fancy short collar, doubling as a collar. If I'm gonna wear a collar, a plain steel band with a ring is all I require. That's all.
Cables. No! Absolutely not. So there's a very big distance in IT between what you can do and what you should do. What works and what won't get you shot. This falls right about here on that scale.
Yeah.
Ethernet wires, internet cables, whatever you want to call them, are made up of 8 wires. And you can get away with 2. This does not mean that you should take an 8-wire Ethernet cable, divide it into 2 different ports, use 4 wires from each cable, and run that somewhere else. Because whatever you plug that into on the other end.
Okay, she actually flashed past it initially too quickly for me to actually see it. It like, what? Oh. Okay, she flashed past it so fast I couldn't tell. I thought this was actually 2 cables. I did not realize that this was a singular cable being split and spliced into 2 connectors. I did not realize that that's what this photo was. It went by so fast. Yeah, this is doing injury to my brain right now. Okay, now I understand Lexi's rage. Now I get it.
Whatever you want to call them, are made up of 8 wires. Take an 8-wire Ethernet cable, divide it into 2 different ports, use 4 wires from each cable, and run that somewhere else. Because whatever you plug that into on the other end is going to look at it and have an existential crisis and vomit its firmware out of its butt. This is how you give a Switch an aneurysm. CD burner malfunctions spectacularly and spat a disk out into the inside of this laptop. First off, I have never...
Lexi, for the love of God, stop flashing by these so fast. Oh. That's a neat trick. That's a neat little trick. I don't know how. I do not know how this could have happened. Because presumably... Okay, I'm trying to orient myself here. Okay, so my thought process here, okay, here's what I think is happening. This is gonna be my guess. So, somehow, for some reason that I don't know, the disc became...
It's magic.
If only Riot. Somehow the disc became unseated from the CD tray. And when someone went to go pop the drive out, the CD was raised above the CD tray. And then when the tray got popped out, the CD just got, stuck, pressed against the underside of the casing here, and it got left behind. That's the only thing. Now, how the CD became unseated, I don't know. Because the CD should not have been pushed at all.
Laptop. First off, I have never seen a Quasimo? Cosimo? Quasimo sounds like a really delicious croissant, like an ultra croissant. Also, this thing is really old. Look at all those just delicious buttons. Laptops don't have enough buttons anymore. But the reason I find this fascinating is CD burners and CD drives are
This is an
modular.
old one, Barb.
For most laptops, at the time that CD drives were popular, you could pull them out, except for Apple, because they hate you. But they're sheet metal enclosures, and I have something like this, and this is metal. Like, you can't get a disc through the back of this. And somehow, an extremely determined CD just screamed freedom and yeeted itself onto the inside of the computer, which is a testament to CD drive engineering at the time because this is such a rare occurrence for something.
It will not harm the switch. Fast Ethernet only requires 2 pairs of conductors. Also, if a switch detects 2 ports connected to the same MAC address, it will simply disable one or implement link aggregation, depending on the switch. It will not cause a switching loop.
Yeah, I think Ting, that's what Lexi was saying, that you do only need 2 ports connected, but when you take 4 and put them into different was it SJ4 connectors, I think? And then plug them into 2 different ports of the same server rack, it's going to have an existential crisis. SJ45, thank you, Beth. It escaped me for a second. Yeah. That's what Lexi was saying, because Lexi did say you only need 2 to establish connectivity. And bear in mind, Lexi does know what she's talking about. She used to be like a server technician. So Lexi did do this for a living, so she does know what she's talking about here.
As big as a CD and spinning that fast. So well done, Tiny CD. You didn't get very far, but you did make it to Reddit. My soldering iron. You know, I mentioned it before, but they make a medication to fix that.
How? How did you turn your soldering iron into a bee stinger? Like, did you just crank the heat on this and just leave it that way overnight? Oh my god. This is the only thing I can think of. Somebody cranked the heat on this one and left it sitting there overnight. Oh yeah, Alex, they are. Oof.
PG-13 jokes aside, this is impressive because soldering irons are designed to get very hot. Their entire job is to melt metal onto other metal so that electronics can talk to each other through squishy molten metal. Look, don't judge, we all have our things, but according to Google, soldering irons are designed to reach a temperature range of 200 to 480 degrees Celsius, which is 392 to 896 degrees freedom units. So you've taken something that is designed to go up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit and you have melted it. Are you proud of yourself? Because you should be. I don't know what you're
Yeah, I was
doing,
gonna say, they probably are.
And that's impressive enough. This graphics card got mangled and tore the PCI socket off the board.
Oh, no.
And only left the bare pins. So inside it
Cried. Oh, that is painful. Oh, this hurts. Look at that. Like, you can oh my Jesus. No, Alex, I think Alexi just said somebody ripped the graphics card out so badly it deformed the PCI pins. No, Drissel, this was not from a GPU seated. This was from someone ripping it out without unlocking it. That's what happened. Somebody ripped the GPU out of the PCI slot, probably without unlocking it first or being careful of how they took it out, and just destroyed these pins. Yeah, Geronimos, that's what she said first, is that somebody ripped it out. God. Time for a new motherboard. Holy shit.
If you don't take out the graphics card, I'm not saying that's what happened here, and just this is a word of caution. When you ship a computer or you move it or something like that, you should take out the graphics card or support it in some way. This is the motherboard, and the GPU goes into it at like T-angle, and then there's just 1 or 2 tiny little screws that attach it to the back of the case. So you have this entire big heavy board, and they're getting heavier every year, supported by 2 tiny screws and a locking connector. When you shake that, the entire weight of that graphics card is on that row of...
No, this doesn't feel like it was shake. Those pins are bent so severely. I think someone actually ripped out the GPU without unlocking it first. I legitimately think someone, they unscrewed it, I think someone unscrewed the GPU. They took out the 2 screws, but they did not unlock it because GPUs have a little tab that you push down. Usually it's over on this side. They have a little tab that you push down to unlock it from the PCI, and then you can remove it. And if you just unscrew the 2 screws and then just yoink, this is what you get. So yeah, someone ripped this out. This was not during shipping. This was absolutely not during shipping. I can almost guarantee that.
Pins. And I don't know if this just got pulled out or it got jostled in shipping or something. That'll rip them pins right out. And I've seen ones where the entire socket just gets broken off the motherboard because it's not designed for anything more than just hold it in place and receive the data. When sockets like these were beginning to be designed.
Yes, Pinru, the vast majority of gaming computers that have GPUs now have those hard foam pieces that are packed into the interior of a computer for shipping to stabilize the GPU. The funny part is when people get those, I've had this happen. People get their computer, take it home, don't bother taking out that packing foam, and fire up the computer. And they go, my computer's making a funny noise. I've seen it happen. Oh, Darab, what's the worst computer repair? Tough call. I've had some computers where they were brought to me, and when I opened them up, typically this was on laptops, where the interior had so much corrosion. Like, there was obvious spill damage because there was a shit ton of corrosion on the board. And I went, well, you're fucked. Because there was multiple points of corrosion all over the board. And it was like, oh, we don't resolder anything here, so you're fucked. And then I've had like towers that I open them up and it's, the interior looked like a couch. There was so much like accumulated dust and like that cigarette smoke dust accumulated on the inside where I would have to take it out to the back and hit it with the compressed air hose. And I'd have to like literally open the back, like the roll up back door in our warehouse to blast all the crap out of these computers. And then I opened up the back door because there was so much. Like, if I did not, it would fill the room with a cloud of like dead skin and fur and cigarette smoke. It was disgusting. So yeah, I've had a few of them that were quite nasty. Oh, and fun fact, this one wasn't disgusting, but I found it fucking hilarious. I did have one customer that brought me their laptop. I forget exactly what the repair was for. I'm pretty sure it was viruses, and oh yeah, I believe this was for a virus scan. So he did a virus scan and found 37,000 viruses on this person's laptop. Why, you may ask? Well, when I checked, the history was full of porn. The history was completely filled with porn, and they had porn CDs in the laptop bag that they left behind with the laptop for me to fix. Yeah. Well, no, actually, the problem was it wasn't the hub. The hub is actually quite virus-free, honestly. It's all the other spicy sites that they were going around on, like big black asses or something like that. I think that's McAfee. I think either McAfee or Norton Barb. It's like it was either McAfee, Norton, or both are like malware in their own rights. That's why I don't recommend anybody use McAfee or Norton. Because honestly, the Windows Defender is a perfectly serviceable antivirus program. It's built into Windows. You do not have to pay a fucking dime for it. The only thing I would suggest adding on top of Windows Defender for added protection is Malwarebytes. Use Windows Defender, and then add Malwarebytes, which I have to renew my subscription, I just realized. But Malwarebytes is really all the protection that you need. Because the majority of viruses that you can get these days, just from browsing, not from like downloading shit, and even to a degree downloading shit, the majority of viruses that you get stem from malware. Most of the time, for the average home user, you're going to get a virus via malware. Malware is the precursor for it to get a virus, because the malware is what shunts you over to the site for you to get the virus. So if you have Malwarebytes, it stops that before you can even hit. The best example I can give you is antivirus programs like Windows Defender, McAfee, and Norton. Taking aside from the fact that McAfee and Norton are shit and you should not use them, they will find something once it is already gotten on your computer. That's how antivirus works. Antivirus will not necessarily proactively stop it when you're browsing around the internet. It waits until it's actually on your computer and then it goes after them. But with that situation, the virus may already integrate itself before the antivirus can really properly find it, and that's when it can run into issues. Malwarebytes, it functions essentially like a shield. So when you are browsing around on the internet doing whatever, Malwarebytes stops the infection from even hitting your computer in the first place. And it also can scan your computer for shit too. And like I said, Windows Defender is a perfectly adequate antivirus. I saw a test done. Windows Defender is easily just as good as any antivirus program that you can buy in the store. McAfee, Norton, AVG, ESET. Windows Defender is pretty much just as good as that. The only suggestion I make is adding a layer of Malwarebytes to your security, because Malwarebytes is a hell of a lot more effective than any other antivirus program from stopping the bullshit that most people encounter. Now, is it going to stop someone? Is it going to stop a virus if you deliberately ignore it and go, yes, defend, install, run? No. It's not going to protect against that, because if you ignore the warnings, there's nothing to do. No, Midnight, I'm not. This used to be my job, though. My job used to be dealing with computers like this, and this is what I would tell people when they were considering antivirus all the fucking time. All the time, I would tell people this. So this used to be my job. Avast is not great. Bitdefender is okay. Avira, Avast, Kaspersky. Kaspersky actually, from what I heard, is like not great. And in fact, a lot of businesses have forcibly removed Kaspersky from the shelves. Thank you, Taurus. Hey, CrowdStrike. Well, Drowning Moans, your company must have been in the shit with that CrowdStrike failure recently. That CrowdStrike failure that happened a couple months ago, you must have been in shit for that one. But, so yeah, that's kind of how, when it comes to antiviruses, that's my recommendation. If you're gonna spend money on anything, spend it on Malwarebytes, and let the Windows Defender do its job, because Windows Defender does a perfectly good job. There you go. Grudge, that's good, Midnight Bros. Yeah, you're gonna see a big difference in terms of, like, if you've ever gotten gone to those websites and you get those situations where you get the screen suddenly locks up and it's like big flashing lights and it says, warning, you have Windows has detected a virus, call this number immediately, and you have this insistent droning sound and the computer basically locks up until you forcibly shut it down. Malwarebytes prevents that from happening, because that kind of situation is essentially what's called malvertising. It's malware advertising. So it's malware disguised as advertising to trick you into calling the fake call centers from Kolkata, India, to try and scam you out of money. we get Malwarebytes and
CrowdStrike lived up to its name. It struck down a crowd of systems.
a little more than a crowd, Bobcat, but yes, you're right. Yeah, Malwarebytes, I've not once had that happen anytime I've had the Malwarebytes protection on my system. So I'm not sponsored by it, but I've used it for years and it works wonderfully. I don't think I've had a single virus on my computer in years. And no, I'm not like squeaky clean in my browsing. I, check out things. And no, get your minds out of the gutter. I'm just talking about like, obtaining movies. Like regular movies. And like I said, I've never had a virus. Well, Alex, I wasn't gonna mention that, but no, actually, Aaron, believe it or not, I don't go to that site. I haven't. That's I haven't seen the point for it. Anyway, so yeah, that's my take. Malwarebytes is great. I've used it for years, and it's the only quote-unquote antivirus that I pay for.
GPUs were tiny, and they've gotten bigger and more powerful. They're great, but good lord, they are not structurally
Did go off on a
engineered for
tangent
this.
there.
I actually I've seen a few tiny cases where the motherboard actually sits on the bottom, and then the GPU slots into it from the top, which I actually think is a better way to do it overall.
Interesting. Wow, yeah, that is a seriously tiny fucking case. Wow. Probably can't fit a very big mother. That's like, I don't know if I would want to have a computer with a case that tiny, because if I ever needed to open the thing and actually dig into it, this would be such a pain in the ass to get into to work on anything in this computer. This would suck. Like if I wanted to add or swap out an SSD or RAM, this would be such a pain in the ass. Oh, Houston Rat Bastard? Well, Taurus, not so much. Okay, it's not that size matters. It's actually, in this case, yes. Yes, it does. Size does matter. Because everything is. All the components are crammed into this tiny little case.
Nothing a hammer
Emily?
doesn't fix.
Only correct airflow would be a concern. But like if I want to just do basic maintenance, like with SSD or RAM, I would hate having to try and open this up to get in there to try and swap out SSDs or RAM. Or the GPU for that matter. I would fucking hate it. Because it would be so cramped. I would be so worried about breaking 5 different things while trying to get one thing out.
Especially if you're going to ship the case, not guaranteeing it's going to stay upright, but if you're going to move it yourself and you know it's going to stay in that orientation, as you jostle it, you're going up and down and you're bracing against the case instead of this, the entire weight of the GPU being on that socket. Just be careful, when you're shipping stuff and moving stuff. Computers are still fragile. Beautiful. Like everyone watching this video, especially if you're subscribed. Anyway, let's see what's so beautiful. Well, I guess it's
What? They, really? You see what this person did here, right? You see, somebody took a laptop board and stuck it into a tower. This is a laptop board. And this is a CPU cooler. So somebody took a laptop board, stuck it into a CPU cooler. And you're right, this could be a Mac. You're right. I think somebody said that. Where did somebody say that? I think this is a Mac. This is a Mac, I think. Look at the feet. I think that's a Mac. It could be. The feet make me think it's a Mac. So somebody took a Mac, cut off, because this is cut off. Why they cut this off? And I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a Mac. It's just the feet here made me think Mac. But you're right. It's a red board, so it may not be. It may be regular Windows. You think it's Acer? It could be. Yeah. You know what? You're right. It could be. It could be Asus. I can't really fucking tell. But yeah, they basically took a laptop, slapped it. A laptop board. They removed the screen. They screwed it into the side of this tower, and then they are suspending a cooler. Like I'm guessing they attached it somehow to the CPU, but obviously this is so heavy it would fall right off, so they're using this to suspend it to keep it in place. And then of course here's your power supply. I mean, maybe Rotex? Maybe? Well, here's the thing, Dragon's, the PCB is not supporting it. They've got it, like, lined up on it, and this wire is supporting the cooler. So the PCB is not supporting this cooler, because obviously it can't. Obviously it would not be capable of supporting this cooler. So that's why they have the chicken wire. I mean, interesting? It's redneck engineering, and if it works, it works. Honestly. Yeah, it's janky as hell, but you know what? Like I said, if the thing works, fucking great.
It's in the eye of the beholder? I'm torn on this. I really like the trend of people cannibalizing gaming laptops to make mini PCs and stuff like that. The death of laptops is heat. Some fantastic hardware lives inside of laptops that just aren't properly cooled. I have a Blade 14 that I'm actually running this off of right now. And most of the thing is a giant vapor chamber. And for that reason, it runs really well. But not all laptops are like that. So
yeah.
I can't recommend this particular cooling setup. In which you take a full-size CPU cooler and suspend it? Why hanging it?
Like, I would ask the question, why not, like, I'm guessing it's too, like, here's my question. Why not lay this down? Why not lay the tower down on the side? Why not just lay the tower down on its side? You still have plenty of space over here that you could put your power supply to lay down your power supply. And then you don't need the chicken wire to suspend your cooler. Like, why not do that? Maybe maybe they do actually seal this thing up. Maybe the side of the casing's off just for display purposes. And normally, maybe it's actually sealed up. That could be. Yeah, well, Drycell, just because they're not supposed to lay down like that with normal tower components into them. This has got a whole fucking laptop board into it. So it's not exactly the same.
It over wires with the heat, but I don't know, but something like I just saw the surge protector at the bottom. Oh my god. Okay, alright, okay. I see what you're doing. Well, you can do this. But there are better ways to go about it. My point being, I applaud you reusing the components. I do not endorse the electrical fire you have created, and if you have a gaming laptop, especially one that's thin and light, make sure you cool it properly and don't play games on your bed. That's what we're taking away from this today. Oh god, the surge protector. Oh, Jesus Christ. This VGA port, it seems like it's upside down. Is it upside down? Hang on, there's a line right there.
Yes, it is.
It is upside down. Yeah, so it's a
Yeah. I instantly could tell it's upside down because the wider part is the top. And so if this is where the lettering it is, yes, the VGA port is 100% upside down. Yeah, drawing those, that can happen sometimes. I've had that happen to me too when I've been watching streams before. It's annoying as hell. Yeah, but actually, it makes me wonder what's like. what's going on with the rest? Like, there's something going on with this panel in its entirety. It's not just the VGA port is upside down. Something's going on with this whole fucking back panel. Like, it's dead to look at. It's like raised out. Something's going on with this entire panel. Yeah, like look at the you can't really see. I'll try move. Look at the pins here above the PS2 mouse port. Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. The whole I/O panel looks damaged. Like, I don't know, did they like try and reuse another I/O panel or something? Cause it's peeled out on up this direction. Now, this could be because they went to go replace the VGA, and so they popped off the panel, and then they installed the VGA upside down. That could be. Because that's why the VGA is upside down. Maybe they ripped off this panel to replace the VGA port, and they've done a shit job reinstalling the panel. That could be. Oh yeah, right there. Well, I mean, look at the bent pins right here. Look at all this shit. I mean, you can see the separation on the mouse PS2 right here. On the I/O ports of mouse PS2. Oh yeah, a lot of shit going on.
Is it
here.
upside down? Hang on, there's a line right there.
The panel
Yeah,
is not.
It is
The panel is not because these line up properly. So if these did not line up properly, the panel would be upside down. It's just the port. That's what makes me think they either repaired or flat out replaced the VGA port, but installed the VGA port upside down by mistake.
upside down. Yeah, so it's a trapezoid, and the top of the trapezoid, the wider part,
Eh.
is supposed to be at the top of the port. Motherboards are mounted from the other direction, where the direction that you can see the IO Shield text is upside down. The entire thing is... How did you do that? Because I thought that was attached. You can see the slope right there. Oh god, what have you done? The reason this is important is when you go to plug it in, all of the pins are going to be misoriented. You can't even use this port. Oh my god. Oh, how did you do that? My speakers made some really gnarly sounds last night. This is what the amp looks like now.
Someone fried their amp. Someone fried their connector. Ooh, god. Professional musicians in chat, I know this is gonna hurt you. Oof, god. That's... What was that? Is that, I'm not even sure what chip that is. I'm not even sure... Aaron, this isn't soldering. This fucker, it literally burst into flames. Look. That's a burn hole right there. They cranked this thing so hard, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is a fire. This was a small fire. Oops.
Smell of fire. I'm impressed. I'm genuinely... I don't know enough about the inside of audio hardware, but I know that if you put enough load on something, it will burn up. And you clearly dumped enough voltage into the wrong spot in order for it to get very angry. 2010 MacBook USB-C mod. No, this is cool.
What?
No, I'm on board with this. This is cool.
Interesting.
USB-C spec is impressive. Like 100 watts is no big deal. And I saw somewhere
Yeah.
that they were testing like a version that was going to go up to 240 watts. But if you
Oh, they've already done it. Now this video is a year old. So I believe they have come out with a USB-C spec that is capable of 240 watt already. Alex, I think it would. If you solder in that USB-C port into where the USB-A is, it's gonna have basically the same solder points. I think it would. Well, I think it works fine.
can't
I bet
find
it
that
would work just
MagSafe
fine.
cord anymore, or they're disintegrating because they were that weird rubbery texture. If you can mod it to USB-C and just use an off-the-shelf 65-watt power adapter, go for it. Do you see it? Not usually, but that's because I'm legally blind. Saw this on Facebook Marketplace. I'll give the audience a...
Gaming PC with setup. Anybody see it, chat? Anybody see it? I see it. Anybody else see it? And then, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? Yeah, it's crooked. The GPU is sagging. You can see the gap where the I/O, where the GPU's I/O is supposed to be. So this GPU got mounted into a PCI that cannot support the weight. Yeah. That's not good. That I/O is that PCI is 5 seconds away from it being torn out. That's not great. With setup for only $350. Oh my! What a deal! Now, Tonito, I don't even think he got mounted in a weird way. It's the mount literally is not strong enough to like. I'm wondering either A, the mount is not strong enough to support the weight of the GPU, or when they mounted this GPU, they did not screw it down in the 2 screw points. Or at least 1 screw point. So probably with this GeForce RTX, the screw point is probably over here, back behind here. They did not screw it in. Yeah, Barb, yes. GeForce GTX is good. That is GTX is it could be I also must say this might be a 3000 series, Drissel. This could be a GTX 3000 series, honestly. But yeah, Burp, GeForce GTX is the gold standard for graphics cards these days. 600 watt requirement for the 5000 series. No, I did not see that, Diabetes. But I'm getting a 4090, so I good. Oh yeah, it says GTX, not RTX. What am I thinking? I just had a dyslexic moment. I'm sorry. My brain said this said RTX, not GTX. Yeah, GTX is their more budget-friendly graphics cards, Barb. So they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They're decent graphics cards, but you won't be able to play like the bleeding edge games of today on them. They're not going to be powerful enough. So you need like an RTX GPU to play most modern games within the last 5 years or so. GTX is, like I said, GTX is okay. GTX is okay. It can, for the vast majority of people, it will be fine. But most people are going with RTX. Well, yeah, it's when you mount it wrong, it ain't budget friendly. Yeah, if you want the even without the ray tracing, the RTXs have more VRAM, typically speaking, than the GTX. And they're able, especially with the modern games, they're able to handle the graphics load far better than the GTXs can. But that's not downplaying the GTXs. They are perfectly decent, average level graphics cards. That work a lot of things just fine.
A moment. I'll give all the IT people another moment just to get that, breathe deeply. Just let the pain course through you. It'll run off just like everything else. So if you look out the left side of your vision, you will see 2 slots where the card should be mounted, and 2 slots where the card is actually mounted. And you're looking a little bit drunk. Just a little not quite.
It's a little tipsy.
I don't know if he just didn't have any screws, or lost the screws, or put the screws in the wrong place. I actually once managed a place that had a bunch of rack mount servers, and server racks operate in a system called U's. Like, you get a 12U rack, which can hold 12 units of computer, and the unit screws are in groups of 3, and you have to double check whenever you're installing something. Just make sure you're on the right U, because the fancier ones have lines to tell you exactly where each one is. But cheaper ones don't, and honestly, you don't really need the lines. They're just kind of a luxury thing. However, when I walked in, the last person had not followed that at all. So there were servers mismounted all over the place, leaving all these weird gaps, and like we had 48U racks where only 35 of the units were occupied because they had rounded.
God.
Some of the stuff was mounted literally crooked. I don't know how you can mount something that's $5,000 and when you install it be that careless, but to each their own. It was not to my spec though, so I fixed it violently, and it looks like that same person apparently had a gaming rig and put it up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I really hope that GPU slot is okay, because I'm not. Walked
It's
into the
probably
office,
not.
Said to myself, ooh, an adapter. Went to pocket it and noticed this. First off, I just have to explain to the non-IT folks how much joy there is in finding a specific adapter that you don't see a lot of. RJ45 couplers for me were like the gold mine, because one of the places I worked was a pre-war building that had so few network drops, and just getting network lines around the office stuff was always a challenge, even with super long Ethernet cables. I wouldn't recommend always using them, but occasionally for a meeting or something you had to set up for a day, they are indispensable. But let's take a look at what adapter they pocketed up. Oh, that is a DVI.
Yeah, I hate how she flashes through these like this. Yeah, that's a DVI. And you know what? They're still used to this day. My last job that I was at, we had, in our tech room, we had 2 monitors that were wall mounted for when somebody brought us in the tower for us to work on or to fix or to set up. And those wall mounted had both VGA and VGA, DVI, and HDMI. Yeah, this DVI is fucked because the slots here are fucked. These are broken. So yeah, this DVI is fucked. But someone did something. But yeah, you can still pick up VGA monitors to this day. And you're right. It does look like it is probably a VGA to an HDMI, or it could be, a DVI to HDMI, or it could be DVI to VGA. It could also be VGA on the other end. But whatever it is an adapter for a DVI connector, but the connector's fucked, so this thing is garbage.
That is a DVI. So this is a DVI adapter. It's supposed to be an even grid of 3 rows of pins. That's not an even grid on the left. That is an abused grid. What even happened?
Yes, it is.
It looks like it got pulled really hard because the sheet metal on the left is actually pulled out.
Yes, DVI is old. No modern computer these days will have a DVI port. In fact, many nowadays don't even have VGA anymore. Some do. Some actually do have VGA. The majority just have HDMI or DisplayPort. DVI is, I want to say it's about the same. I think DVI came out around the same time as VGA. Honestly, I think the two of them came out around the same time. And Dubster, I could see militarily that these still being in use. I could absolutely see that. Because the military doesn't update shit. So I do not doubt it for a second. Shadow Sparta, now that you've said it, I'm going to deliberately try and find something.
So it was actually attached to something else, and it was either yanked or stepped on, and broke all of those gates for all of the pins. Good lord, that's impressive, but also a little bit sad, because the other end of that is screwed. The other end of that is all these fragile pins, and they are broken off. I guarantee it. I mixed up screws, putting my new Nintendo 3DS back together.
Oh,
we were taking something apart, especially electronics. I know HP laptops are really bad about this.
Pray to God that this screw did not go into the board. Because that's the problem with putting a long screw into a short hole. It'll punch through it. You'll end up forcing it through the plastic and into the board itself. That's not good.
The screws from front to back are sometimes different lengths, either because the laptop will rake forward or back. Label them. I used to have a...
Chat. I wasn't gonna make that comparison. You all had dirty mind.
A magnetic dry erase board that ThinkGeek used to sell before they went out of business, rest in peace. And you could write what each screw was. Now I just use Post-it notes and like a little bit of that blue painter's tape and just say, these are the long screws.
Actually, what Lexi was just talking about, hang on.
Used to sell. I used to have a magnetic dry erase board that ThinkGeek used to sell before they went out.
Yeah. Fuck ThinkGeek. ThinkGeek was cheap. I fix it. So, for any of you computer repair people, iFixit is a great resource for computer tools. And iFixit actually has this dry erase magnetized board that Lexi's talking about, where it's segmented, where you can keep your screws organized and actually write down where they came from. So iFixit actually does have that in a couple different varieties. It is ThinkGeek was full of crap. Honestly, iFixit, if you're looking for good quality tools, iFixit is where to go.
On a business, rest in peace. And you could write what each screw was. Now I just use Post-it notes and like a little bit of that blue painter's tape and just say, these are the long screws for this side. Or ingredient cups. You can get them at the Dollar Tree, and they're about yay big. I'm sure I have some somewhere, but if you're at any of the Lego streams, you'll see them.
A bit of 1 Midnight
by
Rose,
2
yes.
inch, and they have a little lid, and they're
Midnight Rose, a bit of one. I did computer repairs, to a degree at my last job. So yes, I know a few things about computers. In fact, at my last job, I actually bought my own iFixit kit to work on said computers, which I actually am staring at right now. It is still in my desk drawer because you bit your ass. I took that with me when I left my job, because my last job had this had one of those screwdriver kits that was for like classes, and I said fuck that. I want an actual computer kit and bought it. And I still have it. Because the screwdriver tips are magnetized for when you need to remove like laptop screws and whatnot. So yeah, I bought my own kit. It was mine. I actually put a label on it that said, "Nobody fucking touch this. It's mine." And yeah, it was great. And Eki, I did not ignore your message. I was trying to be delicate. Let me put it that way.
For individual ingredients, for spices or refrigerated ingredients and stuff like that, when you cook, they are great for a bunch of screws. You can get like 10 in a pack, and you can say, okay, these screws are this, and you can come back to a project months later and have all your screws like neatly organized and put everything back together. My school PC. I'm not even going to start on how much damage comes from
Good night,
education
Midnight
computers,
Rose.
but let's take a look. I have taken a look.
Okay. Well, okay. Chat, let's be honest. This is not a big loss. Is this a big loss? Let's be honest. This is a card slot for compact flash. This is a memory card slot for compact flash cards, which no one uses anymore. Compact flash cards, all memory cards, died many, many moons ago. Compact flash is the precursor to the modern day SD cards. That's what compact flash is. No, it's okay. You guys know what an SD card is, right?
Speaking of the military not changing things, from the inception of the nuclear weapons program until mid-1977, the launch code for all the missiles was, it's not changed at a random interval. Though most nuclear missile launch sites still require the use of 5-inch floppy disks to load the software to make the missiles launch.
It doesn't surprise me. Military not updating the shit. It does not surprise me in the slightest. Yeah, Compact Flash was like one of the first memory cards. You know, most cameras use SD cards now. Compact Flash was the precursor to that. They were probably about, I'd say, 4 to 6 times the size of a modern day SD card, and probably about 10 times as thick. So, but they were memory cards. These were memory cards used in camera, along with the Sony Duo discs and the XD cards. These were old school memory cards, all of which have gone away, and the only thing that has remained is the SD or the micro SD cards. So, not a big loss, because no one's going to have a compact flash card name. This is not a big loss. This is not going to hinder the computer from doing anything. But that's what this is. This was a compact flash card slot. That's all. The computer will still work fine without it.
I wish I hadn't. Oh dear God. That's it. Okay. That is a compact flash slot. Compact flash was the precursor to SD and had a bunch
What did I just say? Lexi's literally quoting me here right now.
of pins in the connector.
There you go. This is the compact flash card right here. This is it right here. So this is what the compact flash card looks like. It's probably about the size of... God, I'm trying to think of a current modern day comparison. I'm not sure what I could compare this to, but this is what it looks like.
And a bunch of slots on the actual card. So the card didn't have anything that was bendy and you could easily damage. And they were very popular for photography.
No, so this thing, a DS game is actually smaller than a compact flash card. Yeah. Thank you, Right Bass. I was just about to say that. Chat, how many of you remember the memory cards from PlayStation? Specifically, PlayStation 2. Do you guys remember the memory cards from PlayStation 2? Those were compact flash cards. Because PlayStation 2 could actually take a compact flash card, I believe. If memory serves, you could use an actual compact flash card as your memory card on the PlayStation 2. So, there you go. There's your comparison. That is a compact flash card. Was the memory cards from PS2. Yep. Now you know. Is it King? I thought they were... PlayStation 1, yes. I thought they were about the size of PlayStation 2 ones. If my memory is correct. My memory could be faulty on this.
And they are still used for...
Cheer 100. The military is updating, but it costs so much to make, cause it has to be ruggedized. A SSD that is maybe $50 today with very small amount of memory costs the military over $5,000.
Yeah, which has been a point of contention that oversight committees have been taking the military to task for. Why the fuck are these things costing so much when they literally only cost an eighth to make? That's been a big bone of contention in Congress lately. Compact flash is bigger? Okay, then maybe I'm gonna look at a comparison after this. I will look at a comparison of a PlayStation card after this.
Or Windows 95 and Windows 98 PC builds because they're easier to get and more reliable than IDE hard drives. However, that did mean that the reader for these has a bunch of pins sticking out. Somebody apparently raked all of the pins with a pen or a screwdriver or something.
It's a high school. Are we surprised?
For legal reasons, that was a joke. For moral reasons, it was not. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Computers should have the right to self-defense. Tech in schools be like, what did I just say about education? This is again one of those slim laptop style drives where you press the button and it ejects a little tiny bit out and you pull it.
Yeah, and someone decided to yoink. Someone decided to take the CD drive and go yoink. God. I mean, theoretically, they ripped they ripped the screws out. Honestly, if you popped open the casing, you might be able to fix that, and it might not be too difficult to fix. Depending on, I mean, this is an old school Elite desk. You might be able to fix that if you open the casing, pop the drive out, and open the halves, you might actually be able to fix this. Maybe. I don't know. It is HP though, and HP is a bitch to work on because they put 50 million fucking screws into their machines. Like, I fucking hated working on HP. Serva, it could be last chance. That's why I said, it's like I said, that's why I was saying possible. You need to open it up and take out the housing to examine it. It could be fucked, but who knows? It could be salvageable by someone that has a little bit of knowledge on how to fix this. Well, no, Kinryu, I said I could look at it and maybe I could fix it. I don't know. If they yank this thing so hard, all the pins just sheared, it's fucked. But on the plus side, this would be very easy to replace. You could simply order a new CD drive bay, install the bay, hook up the connector, job done. Thankfully, this would be easy to replace if it needs to be replaced. And CD drive bays are actually not that expensive. Okay, Shadow. With a link desk like this, I doubt it's married to the board, although it certainly is possible, Dust Zero. 9 times because you can kind of see the housing. I suspect it's screwed down and it's connected by a 2-pin. That's my suspicion, but I could be wrong. Again, this is HP, and HP does stuff really stupid. I always fucking hate working on HPs. They're such a pain in the ass because they do things completely ass backwards.
Pull it out manually. And if you keep pulling it out, and you keep pulling it out, it just comes out. It's very hard to get back in. It will still probably work, as long as you don't touch it. But you're essentially making a plastic buzzsaw, which I wouldn't count among the world's most intelligent ideas. Most fun ideas, maybe. But fun and intelligence sometimes don't mix. Not saying you should never do something stupid, just weigh your options, like, is this worth it to do something stupid? Because sometimes it is. And finally,
oh, yeah.
A cable pulled out of food service. Look at it.
Oh, like it's inside the RJ45. It's the crease is inside the connector. Okay, this straight up came from McDonald's. This straight up came from a McDonald's. I guarantee it. Oh, that's nasty. No, I bet you this is actually, no, this, you know what? This may have not been a McDonald's. This may have been from an actual kitchen, not a McDonald's, because I bet you this was connected to a printer. This was connected to one of those little like receipt printers that is used by kitchens when an order comes through. It prints out on a little receipt printer for the kitchen to basically put up a ticket for making the order. This was probably in the back where the kitchen is, which is fucking disgusting because most kitchen doors are disgusting. Yeah, exactly, Jordy Most. It was part of the POS system for the kitchen's ticket system, which uses an Ethernet connection. So, yeah, okay, MX. Okay, sure it is. Like, this part isn't bad. Even this is not terrible. It's the fact that it's inside the connector. It's inside the RJ45 itself. That ain't good. Could you theoretically remove the RJ45, clean it with clean it with isopropyl alcohol? Possibly. I would not want to. I would just swap the whole fucking cord out. Because honestly, it's be far more work than it's worth and not even guaranteed clean. But theoretically, it might work. Yeah. Those are main code with a specific disk drive, a new one won't work. What? Dubster, what are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the HP from the last clip. Yeah, it's entirely possible. Like I said, it depends on the specific computer. Some computers, if you hook in another drive, you can simply just download the drivers for it, and it might work. Again, it depends on the computer. And it is HP, so I wouldn't alt up.
Soak in its glory. Worship it because it's probably alive, and then don't think about it anymore. Food service cabling is a special kind of awful. Through no fault of this food service industry, it is simply electronics and food, and the two things do not mix. For lack of a better word, I squidged a router off of a wall that had been mounted above a deep fryer that had a layer of deep fried fish gelatin completely encasing it by about a ½ inch on all sides. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever.
Wait. I need to hear that from the beginning again.
Electronics and food, and the two things do not mix. For lack of a better word, I squidged a router off of a wall that had been mounted above a deep fryer that had a layer of deep fried fish gelatin completely encasing it by about a ½ inch on all sides. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever held, and it.
Oh my fucking god. So, we were wrong. It wasn't a POS system. It was a fucking router. Covered in fish goop. I wish we knew what restaurant this was, so we would know not to go to it. Yeah. Yeah, let's put a delicate piece of computer equipment above the deep fryer. Oh, sweet God. And Jack Jokers, thank you for the follow. Oh, I don't know, Hoseki, I don't know. This pains me. This pains me.
It still worked, which was terrifying, but impressive. Don't mount stuff above or around your stoves or deep fryers or anything like that when possible. I know it's not always possible. I know there's receipt printers and ticket printers and stuff like that in kitchens. Run Ethernet as best you can. Use outdoor cable fittings when you can. You're still gonna end up with gelatinous Ethernet cables.
Yeah,
it's
fucking hell.
Anyways, that wraps up this first episode of the Lexplanations. We're gonna try a few of these with hardware gore,
I
software
can answer
gore,
that
tech
from
support.
context clues. Along John Silver's.
Do they still exist? Does Long John Silver still exist, or did they go the route of Red Lobster? I haven't heard it from Long John Silver's in years. They still exist? That's amazing. Wow. Holy shit.
Thank you to everybody that subscribed. We're almost at 100K. Holy hell. A special thank you to all of our patrons and YouTube channel members. Have an absolutely victorious day tomorrow. Stay safe, stay awesome, make more stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Hi, Atanashi. Hello, Atanashi. Atanashi, you were very lucky. You avoided the pain. You avoided the pain of the tech gore.